welcome to the debut episode of World of Travel, the podcast.
Made it.
We did it. This is our companion to our hit docuseries where we explore the past, present, and future of destinations around the globe. Kolyn, how are you feeling? We've been talking about having a podcast for like a year, maybe two.
Yeah.
We did it finally.
Did a couple, impromptu podcasts, but we finally put it together. We got the good artwork behind us. Great studio, and I'm ready to get rolling. Let's get this party started.
And thank you to the whole team that helped us put this studio. I mean, this is nothing to sneeze at. They put every destination we've been to behind us in this beautiful decor. So thank you to the crew, directors, Kit, our floor director, everybody who's really helping us bring this whole thing to life. Now, in this podcast, we dive into the people behind the journeys we love, the storytellers, the dreamers like Kolyn and I, and explorers really shaping how we see the world. And today, we're kicking things off with a legend. She's an award-winning actress, a director, producer, world traveler, businesswoman, entrepreneur with a growing empire of wellness and lifestyle brands. She's also a forever fashion icon who gave us Regine Hunter on Living Single, the blueprint for confidence and style, the one, the only, Kim Fields. Welcome to the show.
This is your opportunity.
Thank you so much. What an epic introduction, and congratulations to you guys on this inaugural moment for your brand. That is fantastic. I'm very inspired.
Thank you. We're inspired by you, honestly. I mean, I was going through the Rolodex and it just keep rolling. I actually didn't have time in my day to get through all the Rolodex, so we're very inspired by you as well.
And I think one thing that connects us is the fact that, and Kolyn had told me this earlier, about how serious you take having the autonomy over your own career. And I guess I've noticed this through watching you for all these years and the many iterations of Kim Fields. But like us, what you might not know is that we created this show ourselves. We distributed it internationally first ourselves. We came to Nexstar and News Nation with this idea ourselves. And finally, I mean, 5 years in the making, we're really still just getting started. So much that they wanted to do a complimentary kind of Watch What Happens Live thing that we're doing right now, having a conversation about the destinations we highlight in our docuseries. So I guess that's where I want to start is like, how did you decide, or when did you decide that you're going to say, nobody dictates when or how my career goes, I do?
I don't know that it was a conscious decision quite like that. It was almost, that's how it was shaking out. It was unpacking, if you will. See what I did there on this travel show?
I love that.
And so I just kept embracing it, not fighting it, not resisting it, not questioning. Well, sometimes I do question it. That's not true. But that sense of, okay, if this is how it's gonna go, then we really gonna do it and go. And so I just kept feeling like I didn't want to be put in a box. I didn't want to have just kind of a lane to be in. I wanted to keep expanding and growing, and I love my industry so much and being a part of it. And so I just wanted to keep growing and keep going. And that's really where it came from. And so then the reinvention starts and the iterations start and discovering this genre and that genre. And then, again, just the mandate of going to uncharted waters. That's a great way for me to challenge myself when you've been blessed to do something for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, your hustle game is out of this world. And I was watching you. I know it's so funny, somebody watching you, but like your energy, like I love your energy. It seems like you just don't run out of energy. Like what goes into that? Is there like how do you do that?
Well, some of it is I am definitely powered by my brand. So I have a coffee and tea line, Signature Blends by KF, definitely powers my energy. And then my wellness brand, Refreshed by KF. So I am definitely powered by literally my breath and my breath work and being far more intentional about living better and living longer and wanting to, celebrate another 5 or more decades in the industry. And so I love moving my body. I love to dance. I love music and reading, certainly travel. And so I keep making the choice. It's like I reset my choice. I reset my choosing and I'm choosing joy, and I'm choosing energy, I'm choosing vitality. And I had a little dose of Jennifer Lewis not too long ago, and she's definitely all things vitality and energy.
Now, Colin and I were laughing earlier because he's like, you guys are very similar in the fact that we both love coffee. I'm going to say obsessed for
Love to
myself.
dance.
I love to dance.
Well, okay.
And also, I have like a ritual that I have to do in the mornings. I know you have your Sundays, and I know that you have your morning things. And for me, it's just been to like reassure myself every morning. And I sit there, and sometimes he makes fun of me. 20 minutes, I'll meditate in the morning. If I'm rushing, I'll make it 10. But I take a minute to myself, even with a 4-year-old, to set my mind and prepare myself for the day that could be amazing or could be a lot of things. But I know where I stand and how I feel about myself before I go into it. Plus that coffee, I'm like unstoppable.
Yeah, I'm just taken back by the
absolutely.
luxury of
I
it.
love what you said about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just the luxury she has to just stop her world. My world has got to keep going, and she can have her coffee, and I gotta keep doing what I gotta do.
But here's the thing, though. She doesn't like find that time. She creates that time. She curates that moment for herself. And we all can, even if it's 30 seconds. I love that you said the short version is 10 minutes. I'm like, wow, that's usually the luxury in giving yourself permission to take a moment in 10 minutes, but that's your abbreviated time, and that's amazing. And like you said, with a 4-year-old and all that you've got going on. And so, when we decide, again, when we make that choice, when we choose to give ourselves permission to have those moments, you realize it ends up, you're able to show up even better, even stronger, even more impactful, even a better listener, a better partner in whatever, personal, professional, whatever it may be. So I think that's wonderful. And I love what you said about you take that time to reassure yourself.
Yeah, because I
Sometimes we
know
call
it gets
that,
hard.
reaffirm and affirmations, but I might have to borrow that. I'll give you credit, but I might have to borrow that.
I love it.
No, because sometimes we get doubtful. I'm sure you do too. You wear so many hats and you do them well. And some people are like, well, like you said earlier, what I love that you said is about staying in your lane. A lot of people have told me that in a variety of different ways, and I've been like, my lane is all these things. I care about a lot of these things. I think we all are multifaceted, and the idea that you are defined by one career or by one role, like mother only, or it's not real. Like we all have a lot of different interests.
Right. And that brings me to my next question. I was listening to your interview at the Breakfast Club, and you talked about building your own table or building your chairs and your table.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about how you transitioned from being an actress to being a director.
Well, it's so funny that you bring that quote up, because when you were doing your intro, that's exactly what I was thinking about. I'm sitting here going, wow, they didn't wait to get a seat at the table or be invited into the room where it happens. No, they messed around, and you guys built your table and your chairs, and you created the room where it happens. And yes, you had people that supported you and believed in you to help you with that. But now look who's in your room. Look who's at the table that you built. So it's so funny, because I truly was thinking about that when you did your intro and you gave us that brief snapshot of your journey. For me, I started directing back in the early 90s, because I was in that transition of I had graduated from Pepperdine. I was doing guest spots here and there, Martin, Fresh Prince, and I realized that I wanted to keep going in the industry. And my beloved brothers, Malcolm and Blair, we were in that same boat where we had finished our shows that had defined us in that moment, but not defined our career. You hear me?
Yes.
And so we all started looking at other ways to, wanting to be in the game, not stay in the game, and not, oh, we just trying to be relevant, but because we were passionate about our craft and knew that we had so much more to offer. And so that's how we all started directing and becoming storytellers in different ways.
That's beautiful. I love that.
And Kynsley, I think you should tell her about your experience of directing. He's self-taught and directed our whole show. So
Okay.
now you have a television show on a network.
Yeah, I just wanted and you also talked about this. You got so many things I was like, yo, I love this, I love it, I love it. But you were saying about how just how to fill a void, right? How to find what's up. I think your mom told you about this, right? How to
That's
one of
right.
the so if somebody needs something, you need to be useful, right?
You find a need and you fill it.
You find a need and you feel it. And I was like, yo, that's like me. Like, that's what happened. That's why I found World of Travel, is because we needed a director, we needed a host, we needed a producer, and I just started filling those voids. And, and it just worked
Yes.
hard. I really just bust my butt, and things just started working out. And then I learned, and I fell in love with storytelling, and the show got better. And, it's just been a snowball effect from there. So that's
Yeah.
my little
Good for
story.
you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good for you. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But not only did you step into it, and there was probably the self doubt, the hesitation, fear, and all of those things. However, you still moved and navigated past those things to get to where you knew you wanted to or had to get to. And here we are.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We all have something in common, Saint Lucia, and we have travel in common. I know you love to travel, but we both
Yes.
love a resort called Stonefield Villa Resort in Saint Lucia.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorite places. That's where I found out that I was pregnant with my daughter Kynsley. There is a rock there that
Oh,
reportedly you can rub and it gets you pregnant.
The
I
fertility
happen to
rock.
be, what is it called?
The fertility
yes,
rock.
on the hike. Yes, the petroglyphs.
Yes. And so tell us a little bit about so you go there a lot, and we hadn't met through this I mean, we met through C Bell, who owns the resort, but we both have gone separately and had so much affinity to this resort that we've visited and frequented St. Lucia. Like, I've been there every year since, and now my daughter is about to be, well, 4.5. So I've been there for once a year every 5 years, and you go often too. What is it about St. Lucia? What is it about Stonefield that makes it magical?
Yes, yes. I do, as we all know, we all do a great deal of traveling. And what I love about that particular Caribbean island is, the undulations. I love visually. It's so interesting because you've got the peaks and the valleys, you've got the mountains, the pitons, you've got, of course, the Caribbean Sea. And so I just find it very intriguing in that way. And the pitons, I feel so led and connected because I feel like I can just give it anything. I can give gros piton a petit piton. I can give them whatever it is that's on me and just release it, and they'll take it and hold me in that moment as well. And so with Stonefield being right next to a piton,
Mm-hmm.
I constantly feel that sense of reassurance. I constantly feel grounded and supported and held. I constantly feel empowered by the juxtaposition of water and land, of sea and mountain, and you hear it. How strongly I feel about it and that connection. And so when I'm there, I've made, so many wonderful friends there. It gives you a sense of clarity to be there, and that sea air and the history. I love history as well. And so the history being there. And so it's all of that all in one experience that keeps getting curated for me time and time again.
I think one of the things that I love about travel, so I grew up with a mom who worked for TWA, which is now defunct airline. And so
Yes.
we had buddy passes my whole life. So we used to hop a flight like it was nothing.
Mm,
And so it's always been normal for me
mm-hmm,
to just go, go, go and see the world. And my Nana, who passed away about a
mm-hmm,
year and a half ago at 106, was always telling me, go see for
mm.
yourself. She would just say, go see for yourself. You can't
Yes.
rely on what people said they saw or the experience or what's in the news. You can look to that for guidance, but you can go see for yourself. And so part of
Mm-hmm.
that, when I met Kolyn, we talked about traveling a lot, but Kolyn had, and he could tell his own story, but he grew up in Texas and was like, yeah, we drove everywhere for travel, like New Orleans or other parts of
Yes.
Louisiana, but I'm not going to go to Iceland or wherever I was proposing for him to go. And I think that part of the experience of bringing my daughter for traveling or bringing friends that haven't been to a new location or even experiencing new places with Kolyn that I've either been or have never been is just the amount that I've seen. You can like watch real time people's imagination and lives expand because of seeing something new, experiencing a new culture. So I want to know for you what it is that makes
Yes.
travel special, because that for me, especially watching it in a 4-year-old, is the most brilliant thing, to watch her interact with people with disabilities, interact with Arabic people in the UAE.
Mhm.
This is all going to
Mhm.
be normal to her, hopefully, and make her a better person.
Yeah. Sure, sure. I love that. And Kai, like you, I certainly love a good road trip as well. I love road tripping. And for me, in terms of why do I love travel, um, I fancy myself a citizen of the world. I'm a global citizen. And so meeting other citizens is very intriguing, seeing their experiences and their world. And again, because I love history, and I respect all facets of history, even the not great parts of a culture's history or a place's history. It still happened, it still existed. And to see and encounter and experience, a place where something happened while you're in the process of making your own thing happen, I find really empowering. I find it very intriguing. And like you so eloquently said, that expansion of self and self awareness. And yet, you can't possibly be self absorbed because travel really lends itself to, oh no, there's other people here besides you.
Right.
So, embrace,
Right.
expand. And so I love all of those elements of travel, sure.
Yeah, that's what our show is all about. It's about, so I don't know if you heard earlier, so our show is about the past, present, and future. So we like to highlight the history of places, and kind of show where they are right now and where they plan on going on in the future. And so my question for you is, where is your history bucket filled the most around the world? Like if you go to a place, you're like, oh man, the history here is just off the charts.
Wow. That's a great way to phrase that question. Um, So my initial and most immediate roots are in Harlem, New York. I call myself Harlem Honey, and so I bleed Harlem Honey, and so St. Nicholas Park is my, where my bucket, my history bucket. Certainly, I can refill. I'm always saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
I didn't create that phrase. I saw it on Instagram 1,000 years ago.
You already
But as a
collected
purveyor
phrases.
and lover of coffee and tea, I certainly resonate with that. And so the idea, guys, of that filling my history cup, if you will, historical experience cup, just right then and there. And then you have the Apollo Theater in Sugar Hill and all of these things where magic happened, the Harlem Renaissance, and all these different things that are a part of my history. My mother working with Pearl Bailey and Hello Dolly, and Miss Bailey working with my grandmother, who was a ballroom dancer and danced at the Savoy. And I mean, just all of these wonderful, creative and life giving experiences. So this winter, when we go to Amsterdam for the Refresh Retreat cruise, our winter solstice, that is where we're retreating for 7 days. We've partnered with Amawaterways. And so we're doing a Holland and Belgium waterways river cruise. And I'm so excited to see that and experience that connection of Harlem, double A, and that how the Dutch ancestors had migrated to America, and founded Harlem. There's almost a part of me that's like, what made y'all drop the A? Well, there was two, now there's one. I mean, something as simple as that.
Yeah.
But to be able to see, the origins of Double Dutch, and certainly being a part of what was,
Yeah.
and how somehow, that migration and then translated eons later into what is. So I'm really excited about that particular travel. The Caribbean travel always intrigues me because of yes, the painful history, but a great deal of beauty, a great deal of sacrifice. a great deal of reinventing oneself in those moments, and what we have gleaned from those spaces. And then, as a romantic, I think I love, of course, like, France and Spain. I've never been to Spain, not yet, but France and Italy and some of the places that are considered, like the romantic languages and things like that. But I had a good behind time in Australia and in the outback,
Wow.
and seeing and encountering, and spending time with the Aboriginal culture. And so I just, again, it just goes back to, there's so much here and there's so many here. And it's so rich to be able to explore and engage on multiple levels.
The way you speak about it, it reminds me of the feelings I feel, like when I'm walking through Istanbul, and I remember landing in Istanbul and flying over and thinking about what this would have looked like during the Roman times. How this would have looked, what the streets would have sounded like, and it sounds like you kind of immerse yourself in those type of feelings too. And then having the
Yes,
chance to go
yeah.
with the Aborigines and being able to actually be in history, because they haven't changed in thousands of years. So that's amazing.
Yeah, I know. I hear you implicitly. Like, I love architecture as well, and I am fascinated by how you can look at ruins or aspects of ancient, literally ancient architecture, and you're like, but wait, they didn't have this, they didn't
Right.
have that. How did they get that material there, and how did they how did they get it to stay together? And it's just it's fascinating to me for sure.
So, what's it like bringing people along this journey with you? Because I know that your partnership with Amawaterways is something where you
Mhm.
are opening up the invitation, if I'm correct, to people to join you, right? So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, it didn't start out that way. So,
okay.
quick
Okay.
backstory. I had said to myself, I'm in this space where I want to just keep my narrative of doing something different, whether it's on something, small, something big. And I just thought, I don't want another New Year's where I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna try to stay awake, or, I'm gonna do this. And I was like, I really want to do something different and out the box. So I reached out to my friend at Amma, and that's what I said. She thought I meant I wanted to do a retreat and invite, the Refresh by KF collective, that
Yeah.
community. So I was like, all right.
You're like, I'll relax, and then everybody will
Right.
be like, oh my gosh, like you can't help it. If they see you on this cruise, you're getting chatted with, because you have always seemed like people's homegirl because of the roles that you've taken on and what you've done. Like, people relate
Yeah.
that to themselves when they watch any show and say,
Yeah.
oh, who are you in Living Single? Who are you in Facts of Life? People
Yeah.
probably think that you're actually their friend, and so naturally with your
Who are you on the Upshaws?
yes, who are you on the upstraws? Exactly. And this is me and my
Right.
mom going
Yeah.
back and forth about that all the
You
time.
know, I think a lot of it is because I started when I was a child, and a very young child, that people started knowing me since I was 7 years old. And they didn't see me in a movie theater where they had to leave their home and on a screen larger than life. I'm on their TVs, in their private spaces, and then growing up and growing up and growing up, and then all these iterations of Kim Fields. And so there is a sense that I'm not a stranger to people. That still, honestly, guys, is very, very, very surreal. But it's been my reality for a very long time, not my norm, because it's still very not normal-ish. But going back to the cruise and everything, for me, I feel like this retreat, because it's not just a group of people, it's not a travel group experience. This is actually our winter retreat. And so I curate for every retreat that we do, I curate the experiences, the refreshing friends that come on to collaborate and do experiences and things with us. And so it's really exciting to see how one of our actual retreats translates into a river cruise experience and kind of melds into it as well. So I'm excited about that. But it definitely started as my own vacation. But then once I realized the opportunity and what we could invite people to give themselves permission to, that was very, very exciting to me. And then to retreat and do, I mean, the idea of doing breath work at a castle, the idea of expanding, a hike where now you're hiking in this historic space. It's really exciting for sure.
That's amazing. So what type of travel girly are you? Do you like to, I know we talked about the history. Do you do any type of stunts? You jumping in the ocean? What's your thing when you go?
And he's asking this because
I saw you go down
I specifically hate like anything where like water animals, I love water animals, are touching me. I get freaked out. And he hates heights, but I have now jumped off of or zip lined through South Africa, jumped out of a plane in Dubai. So we both think each other is ridiculous. So we want to know whose side you're on, really.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of stunts, I have done my own stunts in an action adventure movie, Adventures in Christmasing, which really was my level up in terms of adventure, exploration. And so I was very excited to do all of my own stunts. So, rappelling down a cliffside, falling into freezing cold glacier waters, and all sorts of things. It was truly a game changer for me, and a life opener for me. So I'm one of those. I'm not necessarily a trier, so I'm really challenging myself time and time again with just try, Kim, just try. And I enjoy seeing other people try for sure.
Yes. I tell Liz, I said, look, I'll be here. When you get back, I'll be on the ground waiting on you.
And then he lectures me also.
Now, I can tell you, I'm not a thrill seeker in that regard. And I'll always want to make sure I'm safe. But I do recognize there is this beautiful intersection where you're safe, but life begins at the end of your comfort zone.
Yes.
So where that intersection is, that space is, again, I didn't come up with that. Neil Donald Walsh said that. But that sense of adventure and exploring and being in the unknown, the uncharted waters, all of that is very appealing to me for sure. So I'm that travel girl, that travel person for sure.
Nice. I love
Now,
that.
Did I pick a side or no?
No, you did the diplomatic answer. Yes.
It was good though. I loved it.
You come from a family of talent. You always wonder, or I always do as a mom, like how my actions or career will or won't affect my daughter, what will inspire her. My goal is just to be brave to go after whatever she's interested in. But you come from a family of talent within this industry. How was that and navigating that? Can you kind of walk us through how you were inspired and how you decided to take your own route after having those inspirations?
Yeah. Well, when I got started, Mom was doing Hello Dolly with Pearl Bailey. And so that was really my first door opening to the creative world, the performing arts. Mom was also in acting classes back in New York again. And so we couldn't afford a babysitter. So the kids that were also there, because their parents couldn't afford babysitters, we ended up just being a part of what we saw our parents doing and imitating what they were doing as a way to keep ourselves entertained. So those were my early glimpses, but the realization that I loved the process. I love seeing them making the sets, the wigs, the costumes, the props, the script and things like that. That all came from when I would watch Mom and visit Mom at the theater when she was doing Hello Dolly, both on Broadway and on tour. I didn't know that I was part of a famous family in that regard. Certain things you just kind of learn later in your life and in your development, and family pictures and stories and things like that. But I take it like little treasures that I just have these little treasure boxes with those moments and those bits of information and things that I may not have lived, but their experience trickled down into my own DNA. And so when people say that I'm inspiring to them or my life or my work and things like that, I appreciate that. I don't set out to do those things. I don't set out to inspire or um yeah, I don't set out. That's not necessarily my goal. My goal is to keep living my best life, and then from there are these wonderful byproducts. My goal, like inspiring others, my goal is always, and it's a good selfish oftentimes, and for the decades people are taught, don't be selfish, don't be selfish, and there is a good selfish. And so over the last few years, understanding that and walking in that, so that my goals are really specific to me, but I understand that in the wake of achieving those goals, all these other beautiful things happen, and I'm so grateful for them, for sure.
Yeah, your mom. Yeah, your mom. I saw about your mom. I was like, wow. Her mom had her at
Hmm.
17 and helped
Yeah,
save Steve Harvey's career. Like, shout out to your
yeah.
mom. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
mom is incredible, and mom, I'm so proud of her. She just did her first trip to Saint Lucia,
Oh,
her and my
nice.
dad, and I was in tears of joy seeing how a place that means so much to me. It's like now they finally get it. They would see the videos and FaceTime and the pictures and all that, but they experienced it for themselves. And to come out of their comfort zone to do that degree of travel from LA to St. Lucia, and to spend that time there. I'm just so proud of them for that, and to experience that. But mom, for sure, has always been a catalyst for me, as an actor, as a humanitarian, as a giver. Just always has put that bar in front of me. And she keeps raising it because she's for sure living her best
Yeah.
life. Her and her man. So her and her husband are out there living.
I love that. I love that.
And it's gorgeous to see that, and to know again that is a part of my realm as well.
So where on your list do you still want to go? I know you're so happy that your mom got a chance to see St. Lucia. Now, what's on Kim Field's list as far
Amen.
as like I haven't been there and that is like my go-to next destination when I can get there?
Yeah, that's a few places jumped on the list that I didn't anticipate jumping onto. Earlier this summer, I did a celebration of wellness cruise with Amawaterways, and I felt like that itinerary. I was like, "Is my name Josephina Bourne?" Because I'm like Jason Bourne up in here. What?
Right.
Who? I'm in Budapest and Vienna
Wow.
and Slovakia and Germany. I was like, who, what is happening right now? And it was incredible. I've been to South Africa, but I'd certainly love to go back. I was in Joburg and um, a couple of other places, but I'd love to go to Cape Town and Victoria and certain other places there. Um, I I certainly would love to go back to Italy for sure, and experience that. I'm excited that I've been able to return to Paris a couple of times as an adult, because talking about travel and history, my history there was being on the Facts of Life movie that we shot there. Same with Australia. Australia was a bit older. Facts of Life movie, I was 12 when we did that.
Wow.
And so being able to go back there, and a quiet little memory that I did when I went to Notre Dame, and was seeing the restorations and everything, because I had seen it on the cover of National Geographic, which I'm a huge fan and lover of. And I saw the feature story that they did on saving basically and salvaging and restoring this great monument, if you will. And so when I was there, I went to the place that I could remember. We did a bit of filming in front of Notre Dame, me and my other Facts of Life sisters. And so I took a little video and I said, I was a kid here. I was 12 when I was here last. And I shared that moment with you. And so here's a video to share this moment with you because I'm back here again as a grown up. And they really loved, seeing that video and the memories that it brought back for sure. So but yeah, those are some of the places. I really want to explore more of northern Canada as well,
Okay.
and Banff and places like that. So
I've heard
I
amazing
love all
things
four
about Banff and
seasons.
seen some
So
amazing pictures, I'm sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
One friend of mine used to work for a coffee company that was based over there, and she would just send random work pictures as she drove up past these elk in like this beautiful skyline, and I was like, yeah, it was stunning. Like it's unreal. Noelle, yeah.
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I know
Mm-hmm.
that Kim, you said your goal was not to specifically inspire people, even though that did happen a lot throughout your career. But I guess because we all have in common that we all have created a lane for ourselves and will continue to move forward. That means a lot of different roles for ourselves. What's your best piece of advice for somebody who's watching this and like, I have all these dreams and maybe I have 10 of them. Where do I start? How do I even get started?
The thing that unlocked it all for me was what I made the tagline for my Refresh brand, which is give yourself permission. Now, with Refresh, it's give yourself permission to be well. But giving yourself permission is a whole lot. There's a process to giving yourself permission, because it's not as easy as it sounds in some ways. In some instances, absolutely. Some takes a lot more, depending on what you're giving yourself permission to. And it's not just, give yourself permission to get on a plane for 20 hours so you can get to this place.
Right.
Sometimes it's give yourself permission to forgive yourself. Give yourself permission to enjoy your life without guilt. Give yourself permission to embrace certain pleasure. Give yourself permission to whatever it is. And so that to me is the advice that I got as an actor first, because in acting we're taught give yourself permission to go there, and really deep dive into the character and feel what the character is feeling in that moment. And so the idea of giving myself permission had been embedded in me for a long time, but in a very different direction. And so once I opened that up to my whole life, baby, I ain't looked back since.
That is amazing.
Preach on, sister. Tabernacle. And let me tell you, you opened up a whole new can of words. I'm about to be telling Lindsey, yeah, I'm giving myself permission.
Yeah, he's about to act a fool with this. I'm giving myself permission not to speak to you all day. I'm like, Kolyn.
You know what? So not only, sis, do I know I got to send you some coffee, but Broham, I got to send you a hat because we made hats that say permission granted.
Oh, God, don't even do it. I love the hat, but not for him.
You can have one too.
Thank you. Kim Fields, thank you so much. I know that you're so busy, but thank you for taking the time out for World of Travel.
Yes,
you inspire us so much. I'm sure our audience is going to be inspired by this interview. And thank you. Continue to travel. We're going to watch you. Your cruise is coming up soon in December, so we'll be watching along for that. And thank you so much for your time.
Yes, it was our pleasure.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. Take care. Happy show. Yes.
Yay, launch day. Thank you so much, Kim. So that was amazing. I feel like that was a great interview. I feel inspired.
Yeah,
Give me permission to go shopping. So a quick story is that when I first got pregnant, one of my friends told me or actually I had Kynsley. One of my friends told me to go do things, like basically give myself permission to leave Kolyn at home with the baby. So I used to go give myself permission to go to Nordstrom Rack and whatnot for hours at a time. So I'm going to revisit that time in our lives.
I mean, she is a rock star.
She really is.
She's a rock star. I mean, I was looking and getting prepared for the interview, and I was like, golly, like, this is wild. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
And
well, I
one
can
thing-
believe it, but like I was just taken back the fact that she's done all this stuff and it just inspired me, and then to hear her talk about it and how she's going through it and how she, her background and how she's become just a thought leader and somebody to look up to. I think it's dope.
And you talk about good things happen to good people, and you can tell through the screen. I'm sure we'll meet her in person soon, but through the screen that she's a good person, through the interview, through the conversation, through the way that she lives, that she's a good person. And so I'm excited to see all the great things that continue and have happened to her and will continue to happen to her.
Yep, and we hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I mean, we worked really hard on this the first season. St. Lucia is a place we really had a lot of fun.
It started World of Travel. Belle, the owner of Stonefield, invited me there because during that time of George Floyd protests, it was really heavy for people of color in the country. And she owned the hotel and was like, as much as we were talking about it on the news, there was one day I just cried through the coverage. And she just messaged me on Instagram and said, why don't you, whenever you can, if you want to take a break, come to our resort. We'd love to host you. Yeah. And that we brought a camera, our first camera we ever bought, and that kind of started World of Travel.
A7S3, yep. Yeah,
so,
we bought the A7S3, and I just remember just it was a good time. We just had fun. We went out on the boat. We dove in the water. I got to swim. I got to get in the ocean. The water felt amazing.
You caught a fish, cooked for everybody.
I caught that huge fish. I caught a fish, took it back to Stonefield, and they cooked the fish for me on the spot. And then we broke bread with friends that we made on the island. It's just a special place. So
we're going to have so many more of these episodes. We hope that you guys will stay with us. We have a lot of great guests coming up this season. So thank you guys so much for tuning into World of Travel, the podcast. And we will see you guys next week.
Boom, boom, boom.
Thank you.